Let me tell you about the day the neighborhood tyrant picked the wrong backyard to mess with. The Arizona sun was kissing the horizon over Mesquite Valley estates, painting everything in that perfect desert gold. I was halfway through pulling a beautiful rack of ribs off my smoker, the sweet hickory smoke dancing in the breeze, when the unmistakable sound of heels stabbing the gravel cut through like a bad omen. "Mr. Ramsey, this is completely unacceptable." Karen Whitaker, the iron-fisted president of the Mesquite Valley HOA, stood at the edge of my property line, arms crossed so tight her pearls might pop. Her blonde bob didn't move in the wind, hairspray armor at its finest, and that ridiculous little badge on her blazer caught the light like she was the law incarnate. Section 7.3 of the CC and RS explicitly bans open-flame cooking after 6 p.m., she barked, her voice carrying that fake sweet tone people use when they're about to ruin your day. "You're creating a public nuisance and devaluing everyone's investment." I turned slowly, tongs in hand, and gave her my best easy smile. "Evening, Karen. Care for a rib? And here's a fun fact. This land isn't under your little dictatorship. Never has been. The survey I just paid for shows I'm 18 feet clear of your precious boundary. County records confirmed it yesterday." Her face twisted like she'd bitten into a habanero. "That's absurd. The entire community falls under HOA governance for the greater good." "Greater good for who?" I shot back. "The only thing dropping property values around here is your habit of treating neighbors like subjects." She spun on her heel and stormed off, already dialing her phone. "The sheriff will hear about this." 15 minutes later, Sheriff Ruiz rolled up. He sniffed the air appreciatively. "Lord Almighty Cole, you trying to make the whole block jealous?" Karen came marching back, launching into her rehearsed speech about fire hazards, smoke pollution, and the collapse of civilized society. Ruiz listened patiently, then pulled a folded document from his pocket. "Mrs. Whitaker, I did some checking after your last 3 calls. Mr. Ramsey's property is outside the HOA plat. Legally, you got no jurisdiction here. Go home and let the man eat." The silence that followed was beautiful. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water before she hissed, "This isn't over," and clacked away. She was right about one thing: it wasn't over. It was just getting started. A few days later, while I was fixing a loose board on the fence, a county code enforcement truck showed up. The inspector looked embarrassed before he even spoke. "Got a complaint about unpermitted structures and potential commercial activity. Something about an industrial cooking apparatus and non-compliant landscaping." I handed him my folder of county permits. All filed properly. And again, not HOA land. He glanced toward Karen's house, where I could swear I saw curtains twitch. "We've seen a pattern of complaints from that address targeting properties on the edge. I'll note this as unfounded." That night, I pulled out my old trail cameras from my hunting days and set them up around the perimeter. Call it desert paranoia. The footage from 2:13 a.m. was gold. A figure in black crept up, dumped a heavy bag by my garage, and smeared something thick and foul across my truck and door. The stench the next morning was ungodly: rotten meat, fish guts, and what smelled like paint thinner. The kind of mess that brings every scavenger in the Sonoran Desert to your doorstep. Sheriff Ruiz arrived quick. "This is criminal mischief and illegal dumping. We'll run prints." The gloves gave partial prints. They matched Karen's daughter, Ashley Whitaker, a spoiled 24-year-old with a history of youthful indiscretions her mommy always fixed. Phone records and texts sealed it, messages from Karen herself saying, "If he won't follow the rules, make his life so miserable he puts the house on the market. Start with the grill area." But Karen didn't stop there. Glossy flyers started appearing on every doorstep accusing me of running an illegal catering business, complete with creepy zoomed photos of me grilling, claiming I was a public health hazard, destroying the community's family-friendly image. That's when the neighborhood woke up. Hank, the retired firefighter 2 doors down, showed up first. She fined me $250 last year for my American flag being too large. Threatened my sister with a lien because her rose bushes were 2 inches over the approved height. This stops now. Word spread fast. Within 48 hours, 19 families had stories. The widow who got cited for bird feeders attracting vermin. The young family nearly forced out over a home office she claimed was a business, the selective enforcement where her friends got passes. We discovered she'd been using HOA funds for emergency compliance that suspiciously went to shell companies. We petitioned for a full county oversight hearing on HOA conduct. The day of the hearing, the room was standing room only. Karen sat front and center in her best power suit, clutching her notes like a shield, lecturing about how she had sacrificed everything for community standards. I laid out the evidence calmly: maps, timestamps, texts, the vandalism footage. Then the county forensic auditor, Ms. Elena Vargas, took the stage. Over the last 3 years, $68,400 in HOA dues were diverted to 2 non-existent vendors: Southwest Prestige Maintenance and Valley Security Solutions. Both trace back to accounts controlled by Ms. Whitaker and her family. No services were ever rendered. The room gasped. Karen sputtered. Those were legitimate expenses. Vargas didn't flinch. The registered address for both companies is your daughter's off-campus apartment in Tucson. We've also recovered deleted emails where you discuss creative accounting to cover personal expenses. Sheriff Ruiz and a deputy entered through the side door. Karen Whitaker, you're under arrest for embezzlement, wire fraud, conspiracy to commit vandalism, and abuse of position. As the cuffs clicked on, her mask finally shattered. You people are ungrateful. I kept this place civilized while you barbarians want to turn it into a trailer park with your stupid grills. A neighbor in the back laughed out loud. The only barbarian here was the one stealing from us all while preaching about rules. In the end, Karen's little empire collapsed like a cheap lawn chair in a windstorm. Her daughter took a plea. The HOA was placed under third-party supervision. New bylaws with actual recall power were passed, and for the first time, people felt like neighbors instead of suspects. I threw the mother of all block parties 2 weeks later. Smoker running full blast, ribs for days, music playing, kids running around. No one worrying about citations. The smell of freedom is a hell of a thing. True or false? Karen Whitaker was simply a dedicated community leader protecting her neighborhood from chaos. Or did the ultimate HOA, Karen, finally get exactly the karma she deserved when her own rules and greed came back to bite her? Who really holds the power in these planned communities? The residents or the ones hiding behind the rulebook?